let me show you how to stitch a cast-on bullion knot. And I'm just going to show you this little Christmas star. And if you look right here, these are cast-on bullion knots going all the way around the star. That's what it looks like here. I've started to stitch around this circle with some cast-on bullion knots. But I also want to show you what it looks like when you cast on a lot of stitches and you can make a cast-on bullion loop, which looks like this. So basically you're going to do the cast on with just a lot of cast-ons. But for demonstration purposes, I'm just going to show you the basic stitch. I'm going to be using a milliner's size 3 needle, and it looks like this. And the reason why I'm using a size 3 is because I'm using an Eleganza Pearl Cotton size 8 thread. So you want to make sure that anytime you're doing cast on or wrap stitches that you're using a milliner's needle. And Sue Spargo's needles are color coded, so the little green container matches the green spool on this thread. So I'm going to continue around this circle. Because I'm left-handed, I normally stitch in a clockwise manner, going around the stitch like this. Now, if you're right-handed, you may want to stitch it counterclockwise, like this. So first I'll do it left-handed, and then I will do it right-handed. So we're going to come to the front of our work, a short distance away from where the stitch is going to land. We're going to come up to the top, and we're going to take a bite, just like that. Okay, now you're going to cast on. Now it's very important that you cast on enough stitches to cover the distance of this bite right here. If you don't do enough, it's going to look flat and you won't be happy with it. If you do a lot more, you're going to have a pretty little loop, more like a cast on bullion loop. But we're going to, our goal is going to be to just cover this area right here with just maybe a little bit of a loop. So I'm ready to cast on. If you're a knitter, you'll know what a backward loop cast on is. It's the same thing as we're going to do here. So I'm going to cast on my needle a series of loops like this. Now you can use your finger or you can use your thumb if that's more comfortable. And we're going to cast on stitches. We're going to push those stitches to the base of our needle. And we're going to keep going until we get the amount of cast-ons we think that will cover it. And I've taken about a 1/4 inch bite, and that's usually about 10, 12 cast-ons. We'll just keep going. I'm going to eyeball it here until we get enough on there. So I look, I think we've got enough. So once you've done your cast-ons, you're going to hold your thumb over the stitches in place and you're going to push your needle through. And if you notice, I'm keeping my thumb over the stitches until I've pretty much pulled it all the way through. And then when you let it go, you're going to tighten the stitch up, but it kind of folds over on itself. And you're going to pull it through, pull it tight, and it makes a little stitch. Now you're not finished yet. I like to just use the back of my needle and swish back and forth to kind of shape the cast on to make it look nice. And now you take your needle to the back of your work to finish the stitch, just like that. Now to start the next stitch, I would go and I would come up to the front of my work and start the next one. Oops, just like that. So what I'll do is I'll finish this, I'll come back and I will do it right-handed. Okay, if you're right-handed, you're going to stitch the same way as a left-handed stitcher, except for you're going to go counterclockwise this way. So I've done a stitch here. I'm going to come up to the front of my work a short distance away of where I'm going to make the stitch. Just remember, I'm left-handed. This is a little bit awkward. So you're going to take a bite. Take a bite. Just like that. And you're going to leave your needle in your work. And you're going to cast on. If it's easier to do it with your finger, use your finger. If it's easier to do it with your thumb, you can do your thumb. For me, for right-handed, it's just much easier for me to do it with my finger. And you're going to cast on the number of stitches to cover that bite that you just took. Just like that. And then you're going to use your left thumb, hold it down, and I don't want you to use your finger now. I want you to use the base of your thumb, the pad of your thumb. Hold it down in place and pull it on through, and then complete the stitch. I'm going to pull it tight like that. And then what I like to do is use the back of my needle to neaten the stitches, make sure they look nice, tighten it a little bit more. You can use your thumbnail if that helps to pull it tight and give it a nice shape. And you're not finished until you anchor that stitch to the back. So you want to take your needle to the back of your work. And there you go. There is the bullion or cast on bullion knot.